All right, off to the Atlantic we go, and here's the first system we're watching. Slight chance of it developing in the short term, more likely in the long term, sometime when it gets up here, because you have so much dust in here, and we can see that when we look at the moisture. There you can see the flow where the dust is coming up here. Here is the disturbance we're going to watch. And there's another disturbance back here over Africa. It's kind of ill-defined, but we're going to keep an eye on that because the computer forecasts in the long term, like toward the end of next week, show that could be threatening, but so far in advance that we don't focus on that very much. All right, let's take a look at what the computer is saying about these. All right, here is the one here. You notice it's kind of elongated. There's where the National Hurricane Center puts it. This one over here, very ill-defined, but notice there's a lot of moisture in this belt here. So the tropical belt is indeed moistening as we get here into August, as would be normal. All right, let's take a look at what happens here as we go forward. Again, we're looking here today. Now, going forward in time, this one begins to lift to the north. This one begins to come off of Africa. So tomorrow should be exiting, tomorrow into Friday, exiting into the Atlantic. All right, here we go. Then the system, this one here is very ill-defined. Notice there's not a circulation there. It's just a kind of a kink in the flow, but that's where that disturbance is, kind of lifting north. It's going through the dust, so it's getting all knocked around and moisture absorbed. This one is taking a more southern route. It's got more moisture. You see it's gathering some organization. That's over the weekend. Now let's go forward. This one goes up to the north and maybe actually gets going a little bit into a tropical depression. That's why they have 60% chance on it. Right up at the very top, by the way, you see that one that could be Aaron, and they're going to get close to each other according to the European model. And then this one is continuing on across the Atlantic. Now, when we look at all these, we've been looking at all these forecasts. I know this is like crazy, but let me divide them up for you. This is the one that could be Aaron. Notice the light blue, that's the Google AI model. It's pretty excited, but the other models actually take it up into here, and so there's some pretty good model support for that one actually developing into a tropical storm. Here's the one that we've been just talking about, moving up somewhere in here. The main takeaway of this is that it's not threatening land. Yesterday there was some thought maybe it would go west. No, the higher confidence now is it's just going to go up into the middle of the Atlantic, whatever happens. And then when we look down here at what's going on down here, you notice you see every color. So all the four models that we're looking here, all of them show something moving through the tropical belt here. This is next Tuesday, so this is just the beginning of the week, and it's the end of the week that if there's development that it looks like that might happen. So that's just putting some credence on the fact that there are no significant threats really until we get to next week and probably toward the end of the week, and we'll just keep an eye on how much development there is with that kind of low-riding tropical system. So when we move toward the middle of August, as we've been saying, the middle of August, it looks like that indeed is the time that things will pick up in a more significant way. Not that there hadn't been things to look at here for the last several days, but not the big ones. That's still to come, guys.
Well, Bryan, because we have two tropical waves, one moving now and then the other one about to move off the coast of Africa, how can this current area to watch and its jog to the north influence what we are expecting to see with this secondary wave? Is that helping to push it and keep it further south? Do they have no impacts on one versus what the other forecast can be? What's your perspective?
I think the main thing is that each one that comes brings more moisture and pulls more moisture north. So as the mechanisms that create Saharan dust tend to back off toward the middle of August, the mechanisms that bring more moisture off of Africa and from the south, they increase as well. So we end up with a more moist tropical belt. So that we very often see that one tropical disturbance moistens the atmosphere for the next tropical disturbance. In terms of these aren't close enough together that the flow is going to affect one is going to affect the other, I don't think. But the moisture, indeed, we see that belt of moisture across the tropics there becoming more and more moist as the dust tends to be pushed a little farther away.
All right, yeah, that's a fascinating sort of cause and effect or correlation, if there is one. Something to watch for next week, but of course we've got these homegrown systems that at least that moisture moving through the Bahamas, heading into the Gulf, might bring some additional rain as you discussed. All right, Bryan Norcross, thank you for the update.
That's the thing.
More rain for sure, right?
Okay.
And from a named storm, we'll wait to see. Thanks again, Bryan Norcross, our hurricane specialist.
Okay.